The Democratic Alliance has welcomed former President Jacob Zuma's arrest, but says there are still loose ends that need to tie up. The party says more still needs to be done to reclaim the country from what it calls predatory politicians. Let's speak to the party's leader now, John Steenhuisen. Mr. Steenhuisen, thank you so much for making time. You've welcomed this arrest, but you say it's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yes, certainly. I think that it's certainly a welcome step and a very good one for South Africa, for the rule of law and for the judiciary and the independence thereof. But we've still got a long way to go if we're going to bring to justice all of those responsible for state capture. Mr. Zuma didn't act alone. The state capture wasn't something that was perpetrated by an individual. It was a vast network of people across a wide spectrum of the governing party, many of whom still sit in government and on the government benches. And so while it's encouraging to see that the wheels of justice are starting to turn, there's still a lot of road that has to be traveled to hold all of those accountable for the phenomenon of state capture, all of those who are around the table and in the room, and they need to account for what they knew, when they knew it, and what they did about it. And so I certainly think that there's a lot of people who should be joining Mr. Zuma, and I hope that the NPA and the justice system is now going to be emboldened by the Court's ruling in this regard and start to move against those individuals.
I spoke to you yesterday when you were calling on Parliament to convene urgently to debate what you were calling the unfolding constitutional crisis. Do you think that's still necessary? Have you gotten any response from the Speaker of Parliament?
No response yet, but I do think it is necessary that Parliament does have a debate around the events of the last week, for a number of reasons. First of all, you have the police minister who needs to explain to Parliament why he saw fit to have in his name addressed to the Apex Court that bizarre and unfortunate letter, which essentially was second-guessing the Court's judgment. I think there needs to be some explanation around the status of lockdown regulations, particularly given the fact that we've seen a number of gatherings, both again last night, over the weekend, and again today, of individuals who are gathering despite the lockdown restrictions. And I think it's very important that we reestablish and hear from the President that the rule of law applies, that it has been under threat in the last fortnight, and that it will not be put under this type of threat again, as well as the status of those regulations. And I think it is important that Parliament does discuss these matters, because I think there is some accountability that the Executive has to Parliament and through Parliament to the people of the Republic.
All right. DA Leader John Steenhuisen, thank you so much on the lead this afternoon.